Here I have the footprint already laid out for the automated sugarcane farm. It is 18 blocks from end to end, leaving you 16 blocks on the inside to work with. You need 16 blocks because when you place the water source at each end, water will flow 8 blocks in the trench and then rest directly over the hoppers that are placed connected to the double chest in the 8th and ninth block in the center. Over the chest you can place upside down stairs or slabs, or what I like to do is place glass on the front of the machine. So you will see that I have the stairs to begin with, just showing you that you can do that. However, the glass looks nicer in my opinion when the machine is finished and you light it up on the inside. I'll leave a single space for the water to flow, and then I'll fill in the dirt trench where the sugarcane will grow. Behind the dirt trench and up 1 block, you will place a row of pistons. So we'll build off the ends so that everything is shaped right and proper, and then we'll fill in the single row of blocks in which we'll place our pistons upon. Directly above the pistons, you have the option to lay out 16 observers if you'd like to do so, which I did in the original design here, but later I'll break those observers because you don't really need 16 observers in this machine for it to operate. 16 observers just means that you will have a machine that harvests every single time one sugarcane stalk grows to the 3rd height, and that isn't necessary. I think I end with just 4 observers instead of 16 observers, which is a lot less expensive as far as the cost of building observers. Although if you're at a point where you're building an automated sugarcane farm, you're probably not too worried about how much quartz you need. You can easily go to the Nether and get 1 or 2 stacks of quartz and then not even have to go back. So we fill the whole front of this in with glass and then cap it off with our building block of choice. And then we decide if we want to put in torches or glowstone or jack-o'-lanterns or even sea lanterns if we have them by this point in the game. I opted for glowstone because I'm in creative mode, but when I'm in survival mode I start with torches just to light up the inside of the machine. That helps prevent mobs from spawning, and then also it looks nice. As we fill these blocks in, then we prepare to test the machine. We're going to punch out a few blocks on the outside here, go inside and plant some sugarcane. We can easily place the sugarcane in front of the piston, and then we can remove the observer blocks that we don't want because honestly you don't need that many observers. You can choose to leave them in though if you do like it and you have tons of quartz and building materials and it doesn't bother you. I remove them and place the observers from the outside. Of course, accidentally breaking one of the pistons like the knucklehead that I am. Don't do that at home. Don't break your pistons. Once we test this machine, you're going to see that there will be quite a few sugarcane stalks that do not get collected in the water trough. That's why I put in the secondary system underneath and run the minecart with hopper to collect those stalks that would otherwise just despawn. There are the stalks that are just resting there. That would be a total loss of about 20 stalks of sugarcane. Overall, not as many stalks land on the dirt as did that time. However, any stalks that land on the dirt and despawn is a loss of efficiency in your farm, and so you don't want that to happen. Bear in mind you can mirror this and do the exact same thing facing the opposite direction, allowing you to have 32 rows of sugarcane on the ground floor of the machine, and then you can stack this machine and go upward. In the survival world that I'm in, just having the 2 rows of sugarcane has been plenty of paper. The way they changed the trading mechanic with your villagers, I seem to have more paper than I would normally have had in previous versions of the game, where you weren't limited to how often you could trade with the villagers. Although in .14 we now have to wait until they resupply. It's a little bit of a hassle, but I think we'll get used to it, just like every other update. There are things that come along that we don't like, and we get used to them. It's no big deal. This is the end that will go up and out into the collection area for the minecart rail. And then of course this is the single air block space I mentioned earlier that you would be building your rail upon, directly below the dirt row that grows the sugarcane. Make sure that you don't place your redstone blocks connecting to these hoppers or the powered rails connecting to these hoppers, because it will affect how the minecart wants to move along the track. You could build this entire system out of powered rails if you wanted to, but it isn't necessary. Just make sure you have powered rails on the turns and then centered on the end, so that the minecart with hopper has enough momentum to make the turns. It's not hard. The redstone block actually lands directly in the center if you built it right. Then I just fill in the whole other end and place a redstone block with the power rail so that the minecart hopper can make its return voyage back to the other end of the horseshoe into the collection system, delivering all of the sugarcane stalks that were left behind. You do want to make sure that when you're building this, you stage it so that you don't place redstone blocks where hoppers might be located for the water flow trough collection system of the mirrored side of the farm. Overall, we look like we've got it okay. We can fill it in with the rest of these standard rails and then plop in a powered rail, again, so that the minecart doesn't lose its momentum as it's traveling along. You can backfill all this in and get it ready to set it up for what the farm would look like. I would probably have filled this in with brick blocks instead of dirt blocks, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was just showing you that you can place those blocks in and everything's good to go. Of course, over the rails you need the dirt blocks so you can grow the sugarcane. But down here on this end, what we're going to do is we're going to place a hopper going into a double chest, and then on top of that hopper we're going to place a powered rail, and then coming out of the side of the hopper we're going to use a comparator to read the hopper so that when it's active it will send a pulse into a repeater, and the repeater will then guide that pulse through 3 pieces of dust connected to a redstone torch. This is not my design. I did get it off the internet. In .13 to the transition to .14, the system that I was using stopped working, so I just went online and looked at somebody else's build and saw this design and really liked it because of how super simple it is and how effective it is for collection systems for sugarcane farms, any kind of automated systems that require a minecart rail like a slime farm or any of the farms that we use that we don't want to have any loss and we want more efficiency. And so I plant more stalks into the farm and get it ready to show you that now, once these stalks are broken, they will not be lost. They will not despawn because the magic that is the minecart hopper collects them, drops them off in its delivery, and voila. We have everything we need.